All right, so we're back here once again, Couch Coaches. Once again, this is Couch Coach Live, another Tuesday edition. Got my guy Maui in the building. What's going on, Maui?
Chilling, man. Another week, big things and sad things, but a lot of big things going on.
Right,
What's up with
right.
you, man?
Everything good, just maintaining, just working and
Right.
just the same old with me. Nothing, just another day,
You
another.
know this today. I'm so interested because we've been a year since the lockdown and everything and how everything is. Because last year around this time we had the Last Dance and all those things. You know what I mean? That we were talking about. So I'm so interested for certain things that we're gonna speak about in the show. Your perspective of.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, man, we got a great show lined up for you guys. We got Couch Coach Live alum sitting in the back room. I got LA. I got brand new venture, so we definitely want to chop it up with him tonight. Then also at the bottom of the hour, we have our guy Pat from the Say It Out Loud Sports. It's a tongue twister. Pardon me. But from Say It Out Loud Sports, he'll be talking to us. We'll be talking about Jake Paul. We'll do some NBA talk and some other stuff. So let's without further ado, man, let's kick that intro real quick. All right, so we're back here on Couch Coach Live. Before we get LA in the building, we definitely want to give a huge shout out to Manscaped. We can get you 20% off and free shipping by using our promo code OTBN. Don't forget to go to manscaped.com. Use our promo code OTBN for your 20% off and free shipping. So without further ado, got to bring our guy in the building. our guy, as a Washington football fan, as three people I think in this year, I think I think Doug, Nate, and then Larry. So without further ado, I got my guy LA in the fold. What's going on, LA?
What's up, brother?
What's up? Once again, thank you, Doug and Nate. I appreciate it. Thanks for that gift on January the 3rd, brother.
No, we were trying to win.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man. What's going on, LA?
Oh man, enjoying sports now. Enjoying it from a different aspect now that I have embarked on becoming, a sports agent. So now I kind of have to take off my home team blinders and appreciate the game as a whole, as opposed to just tuning in with just those favorite teams that I follow.
Yeah, so you're a part of CheckMate Sports. So, yes. What was the inspiration behind this new venture in your life?
I'd always been intrigued by sports. I went back to school a couple years ago, and I kind of thought like what do I want to do? And the first thing that kind of popped into my mind was one of those front office positions. And as the NFL kind of unfolded how they took things, it kind of looked like for a person of color that that's kind of the dream can be there. It may take a little longer, and I'm knocking on the door 40. So I need to make an impact on myself and my family as quick as possible. And the fastest route that I looked at was becoming an agent.
Yeah, and definitely. So as far as so are you trying to like as far as is it just NFL or just other athletes? Is it just also just in one field or?
I'm starting off with NFL. Probably venture off to all sports, especially the ones that you know about. Football is going to be my bread and butter. With basketball being a close second. So I know the ins and outs of those games for the most part. I'm not going to say I'm a complete expert just yet. But those were the two that, I feel like I can navigate through quicker, being a primarily a fan of those two games pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a question, man. Like, how did you find your way to Did you put a job application in? You know what I'm saying? Did you make a, you know what I mean? How did you find your way to CheckMate Sports? Like, what's the whole process?
It was something about, I was looking for like internships, because you gotta have the intern credits before you get the degree. And the guy Ed Davis, who's the owner of CheckMate Sports, he had a promotion about, you know, fast tracking the process with being a sports agent. And I was looking to just become, you know, an intern with his company, and it turned into like a full-fledged job. So preparing to go to the NFL draft next week as a part of CheckMate Sports. So, you know, that was a huge opportunity, something that I just couldn't turn that away, because, you know, being starting off in the business, this is probably like, you know, fishing in a barrel. So you're going to have all the people who are important in the business in one place at one time. So the NFL draft is kind of like the second biggest meeting place for all teams and professions of the NFL, I should say, outside of the combine and the owners' meetings, because everybody can't get into the owners' meetings. But the NFL draft is the big money market.
Yeah, big time. We talked about, you said going to Cleveland, man. That's definitely be a great opportunity, and with that is, and you know, and it's funny that as far as with that is concerned. So, are there any like particular agents that you look up to as far as like that mentorship, or more so of like who have you studied? Is, you know, as far as if there's any particular agent.
The Lee Steinbergs, definitely. You know, if you watch Jerry Maguire, that movie was based solely on him. The guy was phenomenal at what he started off with. You know, he had a record of 8 #1 draft picks, and he started off just as a pre-law student at UCLA. And who was the guy's name? Oh man, Barkowski from Atlanta. He was the #1 pick in '76. Had his friend, you know, wanted to just take a look at a contract, and he ran it through Steinberg, and Steinberg from there became an agent. And another one, Don or Dave Yee, I'm sorry, Tom Brady's agent. With his philosophy is, you know, just putting in the work as far as not going after the flashier players, but the players who are going to, you know, want to work, the lunch pail guys, the blue collar guys, the blue collar athletes. You know, they want to just they play the game for the game. And reading up on what they do, you know, gives you the dreams and aspirations to chase the Rich Pauls and the David Mulugetas of the world.
Yeah, big time. And definitely excited for you, man. Definitely excited for this process for you, man. Because like, you know, we know you love sports, and you know, as far as, so it was almost like kind of a perfect match in this, you know, even to your point where, you know, a opportunity where you can make a mark at this point in your life. So as far as like, if you were like, say for instance, you had a client, a rookie, what would be kind of the thing that you would kind of implement if you had like a rookie coming into the NFL?
Oh man, stay away from those clubs. Because they say, like, you know, for some agents, for some of your clients, you can never turn your phone off. And I don't want, you know, I want to treat the client like, you know, they're human being, they're an adult first. So I don't want to have to babysit somebody, because at the end of the day, that's your job. And, you know, as a professional athlete, and I wouldn't want them to put themselves in a position where they could, you know, ruin their lives as well as my livelihood. So, you know, just kind of being almost like a mentor and a big brother aspect, as well as somebody who's going to take care of that client so that they're not taken advantage of. Because I think that's one thing that we see a lot, especially with like the ESPN that broke 30 for 30. That looking at that and to see how some of the guys trust the wrong people. And I don't want to put myself in that class with like those, you know, the fast talkers and the sharks. And just to make sure that, you know, one hand washes the other and help guys get to the next level, enhance their careers, further themselves. Because what you got, a lifespan in 3.5 years, bare minimum, a career expectation, you know, just to make sure that they can help make the right decision so they can get those long, lengthy careers.
I have a question, man. If I was you being a sports fan and being a best special person pertaining to this show in the past, if you have a young man or a young person that necessarily want to find their way to be a part of the of sports in general, and you doing this, what's the process? Like, what is the important things you need to do, and what's the process of say, hey, I want to be a sports agent? What do you think that young person need to do?
Have the mindset,
or even requirements, requirements.
The mindset is going to be most important, and to know that you do need a strong team around you. And that's what I felt when I signed up with CheckMate Sports. It's more of a family as opposed to a business. Like I said, the guy Ed Davis, he's a great guy. He actually went to Virginia State, so that was another thing that we had in common, being a fellow Trojan. So it was almost like it was an instant link. Like the chemistry was there once the first phone call was made, and we just kind of took it from there. And to that young guy who just make sure you have the passion in it, the right amount of sense to go along with it, because somebody's always watching. So you have to watch what you say, what you do, and just make sure that you have a goal at the end of the tunnel. So you just don't want to jump in just like, oh, I'm here for the glitz and glamour. You know, the work comes along with it.
Nice. Yeah. So I know you said as far as now you have a line between being an agent and then being a homer. So we got to get into some homer questions, bro. We got to get into some. This might be the final time, but we got to get some homer questions. So first, I want your thoughts on the Eagles. So what are you guys gonna do next Thursday? You guys on the clock? What you got, like the 12th pick, right? It's the 12th pick.
Yeah, it's the 12th now.
So who will be the who you got? The Eagles getting at number 12.
See, and it's funny because now you hear the reports that they're trying to get back into the top 10. And I'm like, what was the rush on jumping back from 6 to 12 and got little compensation for it? Because, now that I see the game from an agent's eyes, is you want to get as much as possible that you can get, because the Dolphins needed to move back up. The Eagles didn't. They could have stayed pat. But what we need to do, the writing on the wall says to go after one of those wide receivers. But the way the division is lined up, you're going to need one of those corners, because every team in the division has at least 2 to 3 weapons on the outside. So I'm either going J.C. Horn. If Caleb Fairley back checks out, then I take him. Surtain, even though I'm a Bama guy, it's just that system doesn't translate well from college to the NFL.
Chris ain't no good, bro.
We talking. That's almost like a Cardinal sin. We've been talking about that forever. Like, don't ever get an SEC cornerback. It's almost like Drake Kirkpatrick. It's a list runs. It's like the list runs. Like it's a laundry list.
It is, because it's just the technique, and that's one thing that people have to realize. Just because a player is good in college, that's one technique that he's learned. That technique doesn't translate for every other team. That's like when you take a corner who plays well in Seattle system. You can't just necessarily expect him to play well in your system, because if you don't run that cover 3 scheme, he's out of place. He's the fish out of water. So you just got to be mindful of that. And with those SEC pass rushers, that's why their corners look so good, because the front sevens put pressure on the ball, and you can take chances as a DB on the ball, breaking the ball and stuff like that. So always be mindful of that.
Yeah. So you sold on Jalen Hurts? Ooh, really?
I'm not. And that's just me being honest. Like he was the flashy toy, and then with Howie Roseman coming out, he's the next. He didn't want to miss out on Russell Wilson again. I was like, man, don't put that kind of comparison on him. Just let him be him. And that's the one thing I think that some of those guys make, is try to put that early comparison on the player, and then it sticks. And then he has to live up to those Russell Wilson expectations, and that's not who he is. he's closer to what Lamar Jackson, or even the highest ceiling he has is going to be Dak Prescott. And what I tell Eagle fans all the time is, if you don't like Dak Prescott, you can't like Jalen Hurts. They are the same player, coached by the same guy, Brian Johnson, who's now our quarterback coach.
Yeah. So let's switch gears. Let's talk a little NBA. So Philly still hanging on to that number one spot by the skin of their teeth. So, man, your thoughts on the Sixers this year?
I'm just glad we didn't jump the gun and make that trade for Kyle Lowry. They were asking for a king's ransom for a 35 going on 36-year-old point guard. I'm just so glad we didn't do that, because the team, you can see the improvements that Doc has made this year alone. We're winning games that they normally wouldn't have won under the Brett Brown basketball. It's just, I think we were a couple of shooters away and an actual 4. No disrespect to Mike Scott, but I think his time in Philly has served his purpose. This year, I mean, you like his toughness, but what else? I think we just need another option at that spot. And we gotta walk away with that number 1 seed. Anything else? Because I'm not trying to see, Brooklyn or Milwaukee in that second round. Gotta at least get to the conference final, but you gotta run into them.
Yeah. So you got a couple guys on the squad that's front runners for awards.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons, Defensive Player of the Year.
I can see it now. Just the way Curry went off last night for 49 with no Ben on the court, so I can definitely see his impact.
Pull self. Your boy self from Duke. Pull self. Yeah, pull self. But and then Joel Embiid, front runner for the MVP.
I really think he should get that. Like I said, with what Doc has done for him this year alone, he's taking his game up to another level where he is showing that he is the dominant big man in basketball. No disrespect to Joker. But I think Embiid has definitely, his mindset has changed. He's not doing a whole lot of the whole knucklehead stuff that he normally does on the court. And I think that's because Dwight Howard can pick that slack to take that role, so he doesn't have to be the goofball on the team anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and and then also, so now and we talked about, so in your honest opinion, y'all got a shot against Brooklyn?
A healthy Brooklyn? I don't know. That's one of those things where it's going to come down to the proverbial game 7. It depends on how that game structures. Like, we wouldn't be able to come out and match them point for point. That's just not going to happen. But if it can be one of those, bully ball type of games, then I think we got a shot. And it's just like what Ben Simmons is going to come out. I need at least the 18 to 20 point Ben Simmons a night, as opposed to the 12, 13 point guy.
Yeah. But yeah. So definitely appreciate you, LA, for coming on tonight. So you're going to Cleveland next week.
Yep.
You got to go to Swenson's.
You gotta go to Swenson's.
You gotta go.
My bad.
That's
You gotta go.
No,
My bad.
Yeah, we can say it in unison.
My bad.
We can say it in
I
unison.
should have told you that. I'm from Akron. You gotta go.
Right. We can say that in unison. Ain't no.
Seriously.
Yeah. So that's a spot to go.
Yeah.
In Cleveland, Cleveland,
Damn the
go to
Wahlberg, all that other stuff.
Swenson's.
Swenson's. Yeah, Swenson's. Yes, indeed. So, LA, where can they find you on social media?
Same as always, at Showtime804 on Instagram, Showtime_804 on Twitter, and on Facebook, Larry Aldridge.
Yes, indeed.
Man, congratulations, man. Seriously.
Man, appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Seriously.
Congratulations, man. And hey, man, If you do media personalities, hey.
Oh yeah, we got you. We definitely got you. We got you.
Yes, sir. But yeah, man. Definitely appreciate you, LA, man. And don't forget, man, have a good trip down to Cleveland. You know, get that network going, get it churning, get it going. And man, then when you rubbing shoulders with execs, go to Swissons.
All right, we'll do.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
All right, take it easy.
I'll at you. Yes, sir. All right.
That's what's up. That's what's
up.
Yes,
indeed. Yeah, man. Yes, indeed. Definitely huge shout out to our guy, LA, Couch Coach alum. He's doing his thing. So definitely appreciate him coming through tonight and, talking about this new venture. Definitely appreciate it. Hey, man. Hey. I might need it. Hey,
a lot of doors starting to open up, huh?
Yes,
just
indeed. Hey, right, and
that's crazy.
Right, we talk. We think about coaching. We talk about coaching often, and also sports agency world, which you really don't see that. And as far as representation, when you think of, when I really think about, I just think about like Rich Paul. For the most part.
I sat down with a family member, man, and he knew Rich Paul. And it was, a lot of people don't have that inspiration, man, where they don't know what to do. They've been doing certain things or working here, and they like, man, I don't really want to do that. I might be able to do with Rich Paul or this person. It's just when you're a sports fan and you can't play ball or can't play this, there's other things you can do. And I just think that because you have that love for the game, there's other things you could do. You could do the podcast. You could do all different types of things, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I wanted to get from him is him to speak on like the process of it, because a lot of people say, hey man, I might be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? That might be another way for me to go,
Yeah. And definitely, how he spun the money. Because like you're saying, that's one thing, because we talked about this all the time. That's how essentially, doing broadcasting kind of was like my ticket, because it was like, my athletic career, I retired at 17 years old. The game went past me.
I could make a player mean 21, right? What I mean?
Like once my cousin dunked on me at the family reunion when I was 25, you're done in this town. Like you cannot let them. I was like, how old my cousin? I think he was like 50. Okay, because how old? He's like 13 years. Yeah. So yeah. So this is 2011. So yeah, because shout out to my cousin Tristan. So we had a very young. So so that was 10 years ago. So I was 26. So I think he was going to high school. I think he might have been like in the 8th or the 9th grade. He was like 12 or 13 at the time. So I'm trying to be, I got trying to be this little grown, sexy type of thing with the shorts and the button up, had the boat shoes. I'm like, all right, let me. You know what? Because at the time I had what kind of car I had, but whatever. Anyway, I had some sneakers in the trunk, so I popped the trunk, got the sneakers, thinking I was about to do something. Dunked on me, yammed on me. Pause.
Did he jump over you, or did you jump too, or? I went a little vertical. I don't know how far. Like, I mean, I might have a few inches in the air, but it might have been poster worthy. Thank goodness. I think at that time the cell phones weren't as advanced as they are now, where you can have that type of advanced technology, or because I know I would have been a poster that day in my in my little cargo shorts, my button up, trying to be grown and sexy with them. Oh my God! I seen it's a video out there with my little brother's uncle. Mm-hmm. Jamal ain't no good. He always been an instigator. So his son is not too much younger than my brother. So my brother up there visiting family, he ain't never really met them like that. You know what I'm saying? So he up there kicking. He's like, Sean, I was so excited. I got to see people look like me. So his uncle Jamal, like, they just shooting around, and all of a sudden they start sticking each other. And Jamal like, "Ooh, Isaiah, he got you!" Woo! Oh. And Isaiah like, you know what I'm saying? Then he take it all seriously. That's why I don't even always got to be, because there's always a family member trying to start something, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be somebody younger than you too, and they be taking it serious. You're like, man, I got my grown stuff on, man. I can't be. Man, let me go get my tennis shoes.
Yeah, man. I got dunked on, bro.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. My brother would never beat me in basketball. You want to know why?
Uh-huh.
Because I'm his big brother. He will never, until I can barely walk, I will never let him beat me, bro. I don't care. His friends gonna want to fight me because I'm going to foul him. I'm going to foul him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm never going to let him. He should, especially by now, but I'm never gonna let that happen, bro. Ever.
For sure. Like, my younger brother, man, he put out, man, he beat me like 15 years ago. I've been trash. I'm retired. I'm trash. I'm washed now. Like, look, that's the point of your life where it's self-awareness and there's truth in that. Oh, I'm done. Like, trust me, I'm not LeBron. I mean, we're all the same age. I'm no LeBron James at this point.
I would love to see him and Bronny play ball against each other. I know that jump's probably crazy. I'm
like, you be thinking to yourself, wow, look what LeBron. That's why I be so amazed at what he's doing at 36. Like, shoot, that's what I was doing like in 1998. like I was balling.
He was like, yo, I knew I was
balling.
I knew I was done with my cousin dunked. He's like, I knew I was done with my cousin dunked on me. Yo.
But yeah, man, that's how I was in my athletic prime in like 1998. Like, I'm washed. Like, that's not gonna happen no more.
You know what's
funny?
Jersey
has retired.
I remember when Hopewell would get in the playoffs and they'd play one of them country schools. And I'd be like, y'all lost? They'd be like, yeah, man. Shoot, they was playing some type of zone. And they all was like 6'3". They was so low. I was like,
bro,
yeah, they was like, shoot.
Like
whatever, man. I'm about to go get me a sweet tea from McDonald's. Didn't even care. Like,
but yeah, man. So, yeah, man.
Long.
I know, right? So definitely huge shout out to our guy LA who just came on. Definitely check out him out. Doing his thing at CheckMate Sports. And we got another guest in the building. I got my Off the Ball Network brethren. My guy Pat is in the building. Let me cue him up. What's going on, Pat?
What's happening, fellas?
What's up?
What's up, Pat?
It's been a while, Pat.
Yeah, man. It's been. I remember it's back in May. It's almost been a year. I mean,
because your year about to come up, right? Your anniversary coming up, right?
Yeah, May 2nd.
Oh, that's next week. Wow, that's crazy, man. Well, happy early anniversary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What do you give a guy on his first year anniversary? You know how they always have, like, you give somebody silver for 5 years or gold.
I know, right? I don't know. Just a happy anniversary, I guess. Just a pat on the back and keep going.
Right. Or get one of your prop bets and give you like half of it or something like that,
Go put some money on Jake. Oh, I told you guys. I tried to tell everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
He got that it factor, bro.
He does.
He does, man.
Hey, he do. Right. And everybody thinks it's a joke, but so we definitely alluded to that now. So, fellas, I'm as far as with Jake Paul, I'm as far as like with UFC, MMA, boxing, all that, I'm kind of more so of just like I'm like a casual viewer. So I want to go around the horn, fellas. This win over Ben, is it Askren? Yeah. So, because we always talk about every time with these fights, it's almost like, do we take Jake Paul serious? Like, as far as from a novice, from that standpoint. So I'm going around the horn first. Pat, your thoughts on the fight, and then should we take this serious?
Let's start. Well, first, the whole Triller production, in my opinion, was crazy. I don't know what kind of production they were putting on, but I was not a big fan of it. Obviously, the main event, though, let's just go into Jake Paul. I don't think people were taking him serious. I don't think Askren took him serious, as you can tell. I don't think Ben thought he would be as powerful, I guess. I don't know, but if people aren't taking Jake Paul serious, it's time to do so. He does kind of, he fought Nate Robinson. Well, first he fought another YouTuber, got the win there. They said, well, that doesn't count fighting an athlete. So Nate Robinson's an athlete. He fought the athlete, Now they said fight a fighter. He's handpicking them well, though, because he knew Ben Askren's not a striker. So he's making that money. He does need to go in. I want to see Tommy Fury next. I want to see that fight because Tommy Fury's 5-0 as a professional boxer. He's got the big social media following. So that would legitimize a lot of things, but we'll see how it goes. But if they're not taking him serious, it's time to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mal, your thoughts?
Well, I was following some boxing groups, and the guy made it clear. He said, Jake is doing it different where his brand is already built. So that's why when we're seeing his last 3 fights, we already know who he is, but we're not taking it serious because he did it a different way than most fighters. Most fighters, if you go back, he went back in some of the top fighters and you see the first 3 fights, they're bus drivers, truck drivers. They could be like 1-2 fights, but fought 20 times. You know what I mean? There was nothing. These dudes had somewhat of a name. And yeah, they, like those guys, they had experience, but they wasn't top-notch boxers or fighters, this and that. You just want to put them under your belt. I don't know the guy, Tommy Fury, but you know what I'm saying? His name is Tommy Fury?
Yeah, it's Tyson Fury's brother. He's 5-0.
Tyson Fury's brother. Okay, I didn't know him, but I did see that, he can make a name for himself, man, like fighting some of these big name MMA fighters, because he's been really boxing. Like he's being trained by I think his name is Love, and with the Mayweather gym. So he's being trained like he's supposed to. You know what I mean? And he's taking it. You got boxers like Hall of Fame Evander Holyfield, who's saying that this dude is really in here training. He's taking it extremely, and he's doing it. He's already rich.
Yeah,
like he's really doing it because he has a passion to do it, and he has a platform that has the money to keep it going. So the next one, I don't know if he's going to be on the next pay-per-view, is actually going to have a real fighter on there. Lopez that just beat Lomachenko. He's going to be on that fight. Yeah. So it's going to another level. You know what I mean? And then I think Adrian Broner is trying to bid on fighting on there also.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on there on that last card, but the athletic commission wouldn't give him a license. So, but going back to the next opponent, man, you got obviously like Tyron Woodley is a big name, but if he does, the problem is if he does that fight, it's going to be the same type of
right.
They want a boxer. So obviously the money will be there because you still get all the MMA fans. But I think if he did a move like like Fury, like I mentioned, I think the MMA fans are so irritated at this whole concept that they're gonna follow him now until he loses. So if he goes back to an MMA fighter or a boxer, they're still going to root against him. So why not go the boxing route and try to say, okay, now I beat a boxer instead of another.
And that's smart. You're right. I'm on your side. You're right. And I'm gonna tell you, man, like Floyd said, there's nobody right now that has sold more pay-per-views this year because the promoters don't even know how to do it. You know what I mean? And who's making more noise now? So now wherever Jake Paul go, his fans and even the people that hate him are gonna follow him.
Right. And that's why I think Fury fight makes sense. Because if you look at Ben Askren, and it's kind of childish talking about followers and all these likes and stuff, but I mean, that's what's selling in these days. So you can't knock.
That's what it's about. Yeah.
So Ben Askren had 850K, Instagram followers. Tyron Woodley has 1.6, but this Tyson Fury guy's big over in the UK. He's got 3.3 million. 3.3 plus his brother's a heavyweight champion.
Fury, right.
It's gonna be the top. I think that's the fight to make.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah, big time, man. Like you said, likes nowadays is money, is currency. Especially if you're a product, essentially. Yeah, it's big time.
And one more theory I have too. Sorry to interrupt. The Jake. So Conor McGregor, Jake Paul's kind of trying to model the Conor McGregor style, where you talk trash, you get people to hate you or like you. One of the two is better than not being talked about. So McGregor's fighting July 10th. If McGregor loses July 10th, what's he do from there? So if I'm Jake Paul, I would wait till McGregor fights. If McGregor loses, he might not. I mean, he's going to have more options, but that's more likely that he's going to take a fight with Jake Paul, seeing the numbers they just did.
Right.
So
right.
it's becoming more of a reality in my view.
Yeah. Yeah. So, fellas, let's next topic. So, Alex Smith announced yesterday that he's hanging it up at the interesting 16-year career. I say it this way. So, fellas, man, I'm gonna go around the horn. Your thoughts on the retirement of Alex Smith? I'm gonna go with you first, Matt. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, I was watching him talk today, and he was saying that he hadn't snowboard. He said he was on a mountain. He hadn't went snowboarding in I think he said 16, 17 years, and he said he could barely, he could barely go to sleep because he was so excited. And then he was worried about his leg and things of that nature. And I think, like you said, you was kind of nervous about him coming back.
Yeah.
And I think he really put everything in perspective. Like, man, I got a second chance with my leg and still move on with my life where I can keep playing this game and I can get hurt again, So I think he just put a lot of things in perspective. You know what I'm saying? He got a great career, man. You know what I'm saying? He had a great career, so congrats to him.
And Pat, you've been the San Francisco 49er guy. Your thoughts on your former #1 overall pick in 2005?
Yeah, no good, bro.
It's nice to see him make a good. I think it's the right decision. Like you mentioned, I saw a video about snowboarding, and he's been out there with his kids, and it's the right decision health wise. He's not. He doesn't have any CT, I don't think, from all the hits he's taken, and his leg's good. So get out now. He had a 16-year career, and the man's. I mean, I still remember my favorite game of all time was Alex Smith in the 2011 playoffs against the Saints. Through the Vernon Davis touchdown catch, that one. I was crying in the sports book in Vegas. It was the most insane game ever. That sounds kind of crazy, but I was. And I remember he was the quarterback. He had that naked bootleg for 28 yards. But, yeah, he had a solid career, and there's not much else to add to it. But, yeah, he gets out, When he got hurt, it looked a lot worse, man. We never know if he would play it, and yet alone come back and do what he did last year. I think he went 5-1 as a starter last year. So,
right.
It's the right decision. Huh?
Yeah, and I remember that game too. You weren't the only one that was crying. Vernon Davis was crying as well. I remember that game. That was a good game. I do remember that. And like you said, man, I'm happy for Alex. I mean, I'm definitely, as far as what he has done for the game, it's, I know, and it's funny because I think we talked about it in the group chat once upon a time. I don't know if you remember when they were, quantifying, is he a bust? And I'm just like, I didn't discuss it on there, but it was more so of like, no, I think what happens is I understand when people say when you're #1 overall pick, you need to be like this transcendent figure, blase. But I think what he has done has kind of been tremendous, which I never knew that he's the first ever quarterback since the merger to have 40 plus wins in the NFC and in the AFC. So I think that's really impressive. Like I said, the San Francisco days, what derailed him in San Francisco was just the turnover. I don't know if you definitely got to remember this, Pat, because what killed them, honestly, and I'm going to inject some Washington football bias in the conversation a little bit. Noah Turner, I think once he left, that's what messed him up and it's funny because I looked at that situation with Alex, Vernon, and then also Frank Gore. I thought they were going to be like the triplets. As far as when we think about, I thought they were going to have, together. I thought that was going to be a dynamic trio. And then, I thought if North Turner would have stayed and kind of get some continuity, because that's what happened with him. I mean, you think about it. You had him, Singletary, Mike Nolan, and then Harbaugh comes in. It's like it's impossible for a guy to succeed when you have those many coaches and that much turnover at that particular time.
Yeah, he had a slow start to his career.
Yeah.
First couple of years, then he missed a year for injury. Then he had a couple more. Then he got injured again. And then that 2011 season, they went 13-3, made a title game, and then Kyle Williams muffed the punt. Giants go on to win the Super Bowl. The next year, they start off 6-2-1, and he gets hurt, and then Kaepernick comes in.
Yep.
And that was it. And then he goes to Kansas City, though, and goes 50-26 over 5 years. And then Washington over 2 years, 11-5. So I mean, after he left San Francisco, he was 61-31.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely not a bust. Just because you don't win a Super Bowl doesn't mean you're a bust. So he had a solid career.
Especially when you got Tom Brady in the league.
Yeah. And I remember that fumble recovery because it was Devin Thomas that bust up a player that played in Washington, goes to the Giants and make one of the biggest plays in Giants history as far as in conference championship wise. And damn Devin Thomas. But I think, and then also I think even what he did in his finale, as far as the injury, obviously with the injury in 2018, then coming back off of that, leading my my 2020 NFC East champion Washington football team to a 5-1 record, and pretty much was the main reason why we made the playoffs. And I just we're just a great. And it's crazy to think this final game was against San Francisco, even though it was in Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, now, so it's almost funny how that kind of worked out as far as how the timing of it. But like we said, Alex is, he's obviously he's not gonna make the Hall of Fame, obviously not, but he's gonna be a guy that you think of and be like, he was good, and definitely a great career. Definitely thank Alex. Definitely for the 2020 season, and then even the 2018 season, and just his leadership in the locker room. And that's one thing too, where it's like when the true mark of him is the impact he's had on other players. I mean, you look at Patrick Mahomes, how he feels about him, even to a point like Colin Kaepernick, how he, as far as, and just how great of a locker room guy he is, and it's funny how he was saying how he had an opportunity in Jacksonville. I like that would have been great for him to mentor Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was you mentioned a good thing. I mean, he did all the mentorship, and he never made us think about it. Like, he just passed on his knowledge, and that helped. Obviously, Kaepernick in that season, and then going on for Mahomes and everything. Even the guys in Washington, I'm sure got knowledge from him. So
does he still have an opportunity to do that if they draft Trevor Lawrence? Jacksonville anyway. If Jacksonville get it,
he may not suit up, but I mean, I would probably go on the assumption that Urban Meyer might have him down, maybe
that would be
help
smart.
out. I mean, I would think to help him out, which I think it would be great for him, and that's why I like. Smart. I mean, it's like he helped everybody. He even pulled Dwayne Haskins.
Well, we'll see.
Let me leave Dwayne alone. Right. This not the night for that. But yeah, man, definitely huge shout out to Alex Smith, man. A hell of a career, man. So, fellas, let's talk a little NBA. So, the NBA play-in, which we're about 4 weeks away from it. So, fellas, I'm gonna go around the horn. Do you like it or you dislike it? I'm gonna go with you first, Pat.
Personally, I don't like it. I just think it's kind of, I mean, 30 teams in the league. You already got 16 in the playoffs. I get why the league and the owners want to do it because it's more revenue, more games, more intrigue down the stretch, I guess. But if you're going to do that and put 18 teams in, why not do – so I was thinking about this today. They should do a 1 through 7 are locked in, and then just have everybody play for that last spot. You got 8 teams left in each conference. Have the 8 seed take on the 15, 9, 14. It works out. So you have an 18 tournament, and then everybody's alive, but you're not penalizing, 2 teams. I don't know. This year I like it because I want Washington. I want the Wizards in the playoffs. But as an overall fan, I think it diminishes the regular season even more than it already is because it's already a long season. So that's how I feel about it. But
yeah, Mal, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I love it, B. I love it. I just go back to the bubble, and some of the best teams are actually, you wouldn't think that were good, they're actually doing pretty well. You know what I mean? The Suns, the Hawks is making, well, the Hawks wasn't in there, but I always pick the Hawks need to be in the playoffs. I like it, man. I think that, me personally, I feel like the NBA has always been star driven, and now GMs and coaches are going to have to coach. Not all stars can play all the games. You're going to have to sit some people down, and some other people's going to have to play. It's going to have to be some systems. It's going to have to be okay. They're a little more physical. I just like it. You know what I mean? I do. I like it. I mean, regardless, I like what you said too. I don't have a problem with what you said, Pat. But I do like this little tournament at the end. You know what I mean? I just like it. It's just like I didn't remember back in the day when it was like the first round was 3 and done, and then was it 2 or was it 3 and done?
Best of 5. So yeah,
best of 5, right?
Yeah.
Best of 5, right? I didn't like that, and they made it a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So I actually, me personally, I do like it. I just feel like some of those teams that's down, I just think that a lot of organizations start tanking and don't care, and then they end up going to like there's a few teams I was looking at their record. Everybody's so close, man, in every which way. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And to me, it makes me want to watch the regular season a little bit more because everybody has to play. You can't just be sitting out thinking it's going to be easy for you. Or maybe, you know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. Maybe I'm looking at it differently, but
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, part of me, I like it this year. I'm like you, Pat. I like it this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing where I don't know, it's going to be a situation where essentially you're going to like it every year. Like, especially as being a Bulls fan, I'm like, okay, we're in that 10th spot. Like, that looks interesting. You know, that looks compelling. But then a part of you're like, it's interesting because, and this is, I think it's, and people say that it kind of cheapens the regular season, but I think it amplifies it because almost like, you think about it. If you're that 6th spot, if you get the top 6 seeds in the East and the West, you have a week off between the playoffs. So I mean, you pretty much got a week in between the season finale and the playoffs, which that's huge for some teams. And just get that rest when you're,
Last year, think about mid-season when you have players like really. Remember, Portland was kind of weird because they had a lot of injuries around the All-Star game, and then all of a sudden, they started winning a little bit, and then the pandemic happened, and then they was able to come in and make their way. It kind of helps that too because a lot of teams get penalized because, like this year, a bunch of injuries. You know what I mean? Yeah,
because you think about now if you got like in the East, it would be basically Miami and Charlotte will play that 7-8 spot. And that's as the standings out at this point, and then also then you have Chicago, Indiana, which I kind of like the tournament thing in a sense because if the 7 and 8 they play each other, whoever wins get the 7th spot. The loser plays the 9 versus 10, which is kind of it's confusing. It's not confusing, but more so it's compelling. I think once you kind of get the grasp of it. And you understand, like, okay, now that makes sense because essentially, if you're a 9 or a 10th seed, you got to win 2 straight in order to make it to the playoffs. So there's still somewhat work involved. This ain't a situation where, you still got to win 2 straight games to get in, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. But it's kind of like one of those things where it would suck if you're the 8th seed or the 7th seed and you lose to that 9th and 10th seed. So it's one of those things where it's just like, but I do like that it has a tournament type of feel. And I think it's just once they iron it out and then seeing the true impact of it, because what if, and now you look at it, just imagine now, because I think in the West, Golden State is in it. I think Golden State is the 9th seed.
Yeah.
So you think about that's really compelling. Like then I mean, the West is really intriguing because you got Dallas. You have Dallas versus Memphis, and then you have San Antonio versus Golden State. Which,
Dallas isn't happy,
but that's their fault.
That's right. That's their fault. That's right. That's right.
And you got a month, and you got a month to take care of that. So it's like I don't understand why they're so mad. Like. You still got a month, so it's like you got.
And that's why I like this. I'm gonna be honest with you, fellas. That's why I like this because I'm looking at Dallas, and I remember where they were at last year. So they definitely should have been better this year. So, and they're complaining because of where they're at, and I'm thinking to myself, you really underachieved. You should have been higher. I would have thought y'all would have been higher, but look where y'all at. And this is what y'all got to do. You know what I mean? To play through it.
Yeah, I just look at it like the participation trophy awards, man. Like the era we live in, like everybody wants to be in the play. Like it's been 8 forever. It's been 8
right.
forever. Yeah. Okay, 66% of the league is going to be in the playoffs. Like what baseball does it right, man. They added one spot. You know, they have the 2 wild cards, the 3 division winners are rewarded. Then you got 2. I like that, but I get why they're doing it. Like you guys said, the NBA's always been innovative. They're always going to try new things. I don't know. The participation trophy thing bothers me a little bit, but we'll see how it works out. Like you said, if the 7 seed loses 2 games and some team like the Pacers get hot, like because the NBA is super close. It's not like the college football stuff where the distance between 1 and 8 is crazy. Like any team, like the Warriors just beat Philly last night. Curry hit 10 threes and drop 49 on you,
and I believe that's one of the reasons why they did it too, because they have to figure. I mean, me from a marketing standpoint, like I always say this, like they trying to figure out to get Curry in the playoffs in some type of way, or get somebody they know for a fact, like I said, Dame. They love Damian Lillard, so why we got to figure out what we need to do to make sure they're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. You know,
get the whole you want stars in there. It sucks for guys. I mean,
right.
Over the years, he's been a top, 10 player in some people's eyes, and he can't even sniff the playoffs. This year, obviously, they're 2 seed.
Right. And what's weird about, like you said, and almost to your point, Pat, where just imagine, say for instance, just hypothetical. The 7th seed loses. Then, so say for instance, in the standings, the 7th seed is like, I put it this way, the 10th seed is like 7 games behind the 7th spot. Then you got to think to yourself, all right, how on earth am I, I have a commanding lead, a 7-game lead over a team, and they have an ability to take my spot.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, it's the participation trophy of it. Like
Man,
everybody gets an award and fruit slices at the end of the game.
Like look at the Washington Wizards for a perfect example. They started 13-25 or something. They've won 5 or 6 in a row now. But I mean, they're going to be the East. I don't know how many games exactly. Maybe they should put a limit on how many games back you can be. Like if you're within 2 or 3, then okay, let's do a 1-game tournament between the 8 and the 9 seed. But not the 7 seed is just questionable to me.
Right, yeah, like you say, right. Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. My bad.
Oh, no, you good. Yeah, and that's the thing too, where you look at it, where it's just like you said, it's 2 games. Like last year worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
This year potentially can work out. It just depends on how we still got like about a month left. So it still can work out. But like you said, 1 year it's gonna be a point where that could potentially happen where I have a 7-game lead and then, and I'm, then I'm out of the playoffs based on just 2 games. And and that's why, like I was saying, like with the Lakers, like if they stayed at 6, that's when I panic, because you don't want to. Because you don't want to go in a playing game, because anything can happen. That's the thing about it too. That's what's It's good and bad. But if you're in that spot, like anything can happen. A player can turn their ankle. Anything can happen. Where essentially,
Imagine Lakers drop to this could be. I wonder if the Lakers drop to that 7th spot. I don't know how far they are, but imagine they got to play, Memphis. Memphis could beat LA, but then they lose. Then you got Steph Curry coming to town. And the Lakers don't even make the playoffs, the NBA would be like, what have we done?
Right. And that might be the perfect storm to eliminate it.
Yeah.
Because essentially,
I'm pumped now. Hey, don't get me wrong. I don't like it, but I'm going to be watching these games,
Well, but that's the whole thing, how we're talking about it. You do be like, damn, because I got the standings right here. Like the Wizards and the Bulls are 24 and 33. The Pacers are 9th at 26. The Hornets at 28, the Heat at 30, the Knicks at 31, and the Celtics are at 31 and 27, and the Hawks are at 31 26. Like it's crazy. That's the force. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's the thing where you just it's gonna be such a crapshoot. And some years it'll work and some it's not. But like you said, once once one little bad thing happened, it's gonna be reevaluated real quick.
Right.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be next season because I can understand why they did it this year because everything is so close, even with the West. But next year, if they planning to do this, teams are going to take it serious. They're going to take it serious. They're going to say, yeah, we want to do whatever we can to be at least a 6. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody going to want to be the 7.
Yeah, especially in the beautiful thing about the NBA playoffs is almost like the best team is going to win in a 7-game series. The best team is going to win. Generally,
smartest team.
Versus being in a 1-game playoff, anything can happen. You can have a cold night. You know, you can have this would be a bad time to pick a bad time to stink up the joint. Yeah, in that 1-game playoff. So.
Right.
Yeah. So everybody gets sprinkles and trophies.
Everybody get protected. That's cool. I didn't think that. You know what? I don't like it now. Pat. Forget it. I don't want it now.
You get a playoff. You get a playoff.
Right. Sprinkles are only for winners. Why is everybody getting sprinkles?
I didn't get no sprinkles.
Yeah. So fellas, let's talk a little NBA MVP candidates. So I want y'all top 3 MVP candidates. I'm going with you first. Pat, who you got?
Man, it's not going to be anything crazy. Jokic has got to be one. I guess I'll preface it. This is what I think is going to happen is Jokic, Embiid, and Curry.
Yep.
If I had to pick, I think Curry's the MVP.
Like this guy.
If that guy is not on the court, the Warriors are the 15. They're like the Pistons. They're going to be 15 seed. They got some guys that can play, but not. There's no space. Like Curry spaces that you saw him. Like everybody knows Steph Curry. He's the best shooter ever. They're missing Clay. I just think he's the MVP. Jokic has people all over the court. If Jokic misses a few games, Denver's still going to win some games. They still got Aaron Gordon. They got Michael Porter Jr. They got Will Barton, Monte Morris. Like, they can still play. Not, at this level. But Jokic is putting up numbers. I ain't going to lie. But Embiid, man. Embiid's just a monster. He can shoot. He can shoot the ball. He's just a monster. I would take Curry, Jokic, Embiid. I think it's going to end up playing out with Jokic, Embiid, Curry as the top 3.
Yeah. Malva, who you got?
Same 3. I think they're gonna give it to Embiid because the way he's playing, I don't think he's gonna be able to play as well as he's playing this year. And I think we're seeing something else out of Jokic. You know what I'm saying? Like Murray is down, Gordon is there, but like Murray, like in a bubble, Murray balled. But if it wasn't for Michael Porter Jr. saying, hey, they need to pass the ball more because the game would have been a lot easier if you just use the Joker a little bit more. So I think it should go to Embiid, but I wouldn't be mad if it go to Joker. But my MVP is Steph Curry because as I'm watching the impact that I'm seeing, the most valuable player in the NBA to me is him because he is from the All-Star game, how exciting he was. This him supposedly might be going to the like he just seemed like he's the one that he's the golden child of the league this year. And he's just putting up numbers. He's getting hurt. He's still playing. And they would be horrible, man, if he wasn't there. He's a superstar, man. He's like Jake Paul. He got that it factor,
Yeah. And that's one thing, too. The thing is, I got the same list. Obviously, I got Jokic, Joel Embiid, and then Stephen Curry. And probably what's going to happen is going to be Embiid because normally what happens with these awards, they award it to the team with the best record and the best player. As far as, and that's normally how it happens. But like you said, to you guys' point, Stephen Curry, what he's doing, he's putting up just as good as numbers as he did his MVP season.
Right.
So that's why it's almost like it's kind of low key contradictory. Where people say, well, they're fighting to be in the playoffs, but if you look at from a academic textbook definition of what a most valuable player is, it would be Stephen Curry.
Yeah,
like you said, if it weren't for him, they'd be worse than Minnesota. Like that made Minnesota look like the Nets. Like, I mean, seriously,
we wouldn't even be talking about them.
Like, right, they would be taken for Cade, essentially, or whatever, as far as being the worst team. But that's the thing where, because I know we talked about this before, where it's almost like, is it time to kind of reevaluate who we deem as the MVP? Because the NBA's always have had this pattern of giving an award to the best player on the best team record-wise, per se.
I mean, they get Westbrook, but he put up obviously historic numbers.
Yeah.
And then you look at teams like the Jazz; they got the best record in the league. No MVP talks.
Right.
Phoenix, nobody, and there's Chris Paul. And if Chris Paul is an MVP level player, but he just doesn't have the numbers to back it. He has the lead, he has the intangibles, but he doesn't have the numbers. So. Right. And Giannis is putting up numbers too. So, I mean, that's voter fatigue. He ain't going to get it. So,
right. And then with Joel B, if they're still at this pace where even if they finish second behind Brooklyn, he would be in that prototype of who they would deem as MVP. And like you said, if Donovan Mitchell was kind of putting up numbers like that, then he would be it. Or, if Chris Paul was putting up numbers. But like you said, the anomaly was Russ. And like you said, but he had a triple double, which in a scary way, Jokic he's nearing a triple double. He has 8.8 assists, but like you said, if he gets in that triple double, then that's another thing too where that adds on to the equation. But yeah, like you said,
he played in almost every game, and he hasn't really been hurt this season.
Yeah, I think,
you can penalize Embiid on something like that. You know what I mean? Because he only played 70% of his games this season.
I almost think the Jamal Murray injury. I know it sounds demonic, but I almost think it helps Jokic in a way if they can keep playing like
very much so.
7 of the last 10 or 8 of the last 10. If they can stay at the 4 or even get to 3, even I think that in a weird way helps the Joker's MVP consideration. So,
right,
Yeah, man. So definitely appreciate you, Pat, for coming through. And Pat, where can they find you on social media?
Say It Out Loud Sports, man. We got our new episodes come out every Wednesday. Tomorrow I got a UFC middleweight Philip Haas on the show, giving out our picks for UFC 261. So tune in. But yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Say It Out Loud Sports. And I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on, Coach.
Yes, sir. Not a problem, man. We'll definitely
happy anniversary.
Get you back on. Yeah. Get you back on. You got to help your degenerate gambler colleague because I'm struggling.
I call him. It comes out every week. I'll have it up this week on probably Wednesday.
Yeah, I know, man. I definitely need to tap into that because I be struggling. But yeah, definitely appreciate you, Pat. Man, we'll catch you around. And once again, man, happy early anniversary.
All right, fellas. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, man. Definitely huge shout out to our guy, Pat. Yeah, man. So let's put a ball in this week's Couch Coach Live, man. Who getting this week's game ball?
Oh, man. In honor of 420, I'm going to give the game ball. First, I got 3 people. I'm sorry. First off, my buddy Frankie Mac put out his first album this morning at midnight. It's called Reflections of Frankie Mac. You can download it on soundvision.net. Congratulations to him. But game ball goes to Jaleel White, who made an appearance on Triller pay-per-view as Steve Urkel. But today he actually launched his own brand of cannabis called Purple Urkel. Congratulations to him. And also, last Thursday, California Cannabis revenue of $5 million. And the investors are Snoop, Nas, Carmelo Anthony, John Wall, and Rich Paul. Congratulations. California Cannabis.
Yeah. money, profits. Yeah.
Right.
So my game ball goes to Wes Miller. He's named the new head coach at Cincinnati. Had a tremendous tenure at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. A huge shout out to Wes. Wes is a member of the greatest college basketball team that ever laced up sneakers, the 2005 UNC Tar Heel team. Definitely huge shout out to my guy Wes Miller, the pride of Greensboro, North Carolina, man. So I might have 3 teams. I roll with the Tar Heels. I roll with the Spiders. I think I'm gonna roll with the Bearcats, man. Definitely huge shout out to my guy Wes Miller. Final thoughts before we head on out, brother.
Oh man, it's been a great day. The verdict came through and everything. So
yeah,
everybody's positive. Red and Meth is on the big screen, getting their verses on, and great show, man. Real great show. Shout out to Larry and Pat.
Yeah, man,
Larry, right? The LA,
LA, one ring Larry. Yeah, man. Shout out to our guys. Yeah, man. Once again, great show. Like you said, once again, this what a historic day. With what has transpired in our world today. It's just one of the things where justice wasn't essentially served; it was accountability was served. Right. With the situation. Definitely my thoughts and prayers to George Floyd's family and everybody who's been affected by this. We all have. So definitely this is just a moment where they can kind of find solace, even though it doesn't bring him back. But the person that was responsible for this act on him is being held accountable. So, it's just one of those things where just man, definitely huge shout out to that, and man, hey, just a very historic day. Definitely didn't think this day was going to happen. Honestly, just in general. I mean, just to be real. I mean, as far as, but this is just a situation. But this is a situation that it's a tide and it's a change, and we needed it. So. Right. Everything
what's funny? I'm gonna tell you something, man. I have a lot of different friends, right? Mm-hmm. And I really didn't give that a lot of my energy. That but it would always pop up, people talking about the videos, and I'm like, man, I think this verdict gonna go the other way. But these specific people was so excited that it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So I sent them some memes, saying with the fist and this and that, but. It was really cool to see them, feeling it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think just the trial alone, I think it just, and that's one thing too, when you these things, but I think you fail to realize it's not just a George Floyd situation. You got to think about other people that was involved, the trauma that these people want to have to live for the rest of their lives. I mean, you think about the people that watched him take his last breath. You look at just everything that happened, the 9-year-old girl, the teenage kids, like the 61-year-old man, like these guys who were on the stand. And I think, and it's just one of the things where you don't really think about it until you see these witness accounts. And this is just something that's going to stick with them for the rest of their lives. This is going to be a trauma that you're hoping that they can overcome. But, that's where I think the trial kind of provided the depth of emotions to a point where this not just the killing of a black man. This is a community that's seen him being killed. Right. So it's beyond the scope of the victim. There's other victims outside of, even though George Floyd has passed away, he is the prime victim, but there are other people that are going to be traumatized from this experience. And that's the thing too, where you look at it from that scope, and you just look at, just as far as just the emotions behind that, where it's just like, and I've really, and it's crazy because this is one of the first trials I've ever seen where everybody was emotional. Like, and that's one thing too, where And that's the thing where I think it was more so of just the personal accounts, just the emotions that was in that courtroom where it was just, I mean, that's why I just couldn't imagine, people, you really feel for George Floyd's family because they have to live, every day they're in this courtroom and they're replaying the last 10 minutes of this man's life every day. Because this is, and unfortunately, that is the evidence, but they're showing this every day. And you just got to think to yourself, like, could you just even imagine him as your family member and you're hearing him take his final breaths. And like, I mean, that's why I think that's one thing too, when this is just, it's beyond things that you think about it. But when you witness it, when you hear it in the courtroom, these things, and it was really gut wrenching. I think maybe, and I really don't recall OJ since I was maybe too young to recall, some of those, I think that's like the last trial I might have seen, like from gavel to gavel. But I was 10, so I really kind of need to throw that out because I mean I was young when that happened. But this was just, it was just such an emotionally charged trial, and it changed
a lot of people. I'm telling you, the person that texted me said that his mom pulled over and called him, and I remember them probably about 20 years ago. Certain words were said and certain things, but we know me. We've been roommates, so you know me. I tend to, can change some people. You know what I mean? Yep. And I let them be who they are. But they still respected me. But then I was like, man, I'm hearing stuff and it's making me a little nervous that it ain't gonna go that way.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? And he was like, no, man, it has to go that way. They know it better. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then it went, and then right before the verdict hit, he hit me. They better not let that, you know what I mean? I'm like,
right.
Okay, so then I got a notification, and then I'm starting to pay attention to it. And then he was excited, and he was like, man, my mom pulled over and she started crying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of a beautiful thing. Let you know that I'm gonna let everybody know that because the show still recorded that.
Yeah.
It's a step towards a lot of people are changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are. You know what I mean? They are, man. You know what I mean? So real sad, man.
It is, man. And and what's funny about, and not funny, but what's so crazy about all this is bro, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I was about to cave hard for Joy today, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna save the energy for the show. So, she posted about the verdict and what have you. Then some little jerk was like, stick to sports. But I'm thinking to myself, boy, I swear I was about to be like, don't you be talking to Joy like don't talk to my Joy like that.
He told Joy Taylor that way. I know he wasn't talking to my Joy Taylor that way.
I was like, shoot, if I didn't have a show tonight, guess what? If I didn't have a show tonight, and I had because I had to do some pre-show, I had to do some notes, I had to do some work this evening. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, if I ain't had a show tonight, I would have been caping hard. I would have been going toe for this guy that went on her own post. I swear. I'd have been working hard tonight.
Leave Joy alone, man.
Facts.
For real. Don't mess with Joy.
And then what kills me about everybody, this isn't the politics. This is common decency. This is treatment, equal treatment to somebody. This is a civil rights thing. This isn't politics at all. And that's what kills me with people. They're like, oh, stick to sports. And I'm like, look here. Joy stick to sports Monday through Friday.
Yeah, hold up.
You done mess with the wrong.
Joy's all around. Joy's all around. She's high. Oh, Joy Taylor. Boy.
Stop it. That's mine.
Whatever, man. You can't have everything, man.
But yeah, man. So yeah, man. But yeah, stick to sports. Nah, we ain't sticking to sports, man. At the end of the day, hey, we sports, but this is real life. So at the end of the day, hey.
Hey,
we gave you an hour and 2 minutes of sports talk. Hey, let us ride for 10 minutes and let's talk about this thing. And we did.
Right. Let me be real with you, man. Like, people say stick to, but we We all got to drive. We all got to do certain things when you go
Right.
out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And don't get it twisted, man. We know there's some good ones. You know, we always have to say that.
No doubt.
But,
No doubt.
you know,
But this,
it's
but like,
still, you know what I mean? Like, especially when they pull you and you be like, why'd you even pull me? Oh,
Right.
you know, you made an illegal left turn.
right. Like, huh? How?
You know,
How's that possible?
how? Well, you know, you're supposed to do it. I'm sitting here like, yeah, okay. But what is this thing you're driving? Are you following that guy?
Right. Oh yeah. Oh God. Shout out to Montana.
Right.
But yeah, and that's another thing too, where like this trial really helped as far as amplify, like just the simple fact of regardless of of who you are, you can always do the right thing. When it's funny, like when we say, say something, see something, say something. And this is kind of how it happened, where you look at even, the murderer, his boss pretty much said, hey, pretty much, what's the perfect word for it? He testified against him. So in most cases, it used to be a situation where there was what they call a blue wall of silence, where essentially, hey, gag code to as far as, hey, whatever, we don't say nothing. I protect you, you protect me. It's us against the world type of thing. So it's one of the things where you look at now where these things, like you said, it can differentiate between the good cop and the bad cop. Differentiate. Pardon me, I mixed my words in my previous diatribe. But but yeah, man. So any other final thoughts before we head on out?
Man, great show, bro.
Yeah, man.
Great show.
Yeah, man. So definitely shout out. Social media.
My bad. Deshaun Morgan Facebook, DT Morgan 78 Instagram.
Yeah, big time. Also, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Couch Coach Live. Also, follow us on TikTok, Couch Coach Live on TikTok. Man, I'm trying to be like Jackson Mahomes, man. I'm trying to be big time in this TikTok game, man. And also other church announcements. I only got one church announcement this week. Tomorrow I'll be on the Cruz Allen. So definitely huge shout out to my guy Rob Cruz on the Football and Chill podcast. Check me out tomorrow on not Football and Chill, but Football and Chill podcast. But it's also Cruz Allen. We'll be talking a little bit of Washington football as we prepare for the 2021 NFL draft. And yeah, man. So for Maui and Coach, man, this has been this week's Couch Coach Live, man. We'll catch you guys next week.
Welcome.